Hello, hello, hello. How are you today? Is it hot where you are? It's a hot day. It's Saturday. I checked in on a couple of friends over in New York City, and I know it's hot here. It's just hot. But that's not why I came on today. First of all, did you check out the picture that I put up? That was from my 50th birthday. Okay, which was a couple of months ago. So we'll talk about that another time because I don't know, but most of the time I heard people saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm turning 30. I'm turning 20 and I'm turning whatever 18, No, 18 was exciting for people, but most of the other ages, especially when people started to get like over 25, it was almost like, "Oh, it's horrible." Oh, which is not true. I mean, for me, I have to tell you, 50 has been one of the most exciting years of my life. I really feel like I have a new beginning. I don't know. Like, it's been adventurous. I've done a number of things I haven't done in a very, very long time. Me and my child. It's been wonderful. It's been a blessing. And so we'll talk about that another time because I really want us to change the mindset. I don't know who put that out there. As you get older, it's supposed to be so, No, it's really supposed to be a time of celebration and a blessing. We'll talk about that another time. I'm going to share some things with you about that. But I wanted to come on today just because I was in here. It's Saturday, so most of us tend to do our chores or clean up or get a little bit of rest that we weren't able to get during the week, and maybe, have some family time. I don't know, do a little bit of work, right, on your own personal business if you're an entrepreneur. Remember now, on this broadcast, I'm telling you, it's not the perfect one. So you hear me trying to get up in this. I'm kind of short, so I'm trying to get up in this high chair, but I made it. I should really give myself a clap up for that one. Okay, so I got in the chair. Anyway, I want to talk to you about that. Like, it's okay to ask for help. And so as I was thinking about this topic, I really started to wonder what happened in most of our lives that made us feel like it wasn't okay to ask for help. Why? What happened? I started to think about when I was back in school, and as a child, I went to it was a nice public school. I learned a lot. The teachers were great. I was a teacher's pet in junior high school and public school. And so, anyway, that's another story. But it wasn't bad at all. But I noticed that most of the time, if you ask for help, your classmates would kind of be like, "Oh, they don't get it." And usually they didn't get it either. And sometimes we may have asked our parents after they had a long, hard day at work, or you have multiple siblings dealing with your other siblings, and you turn around and you're like, "I need help." And who knows, maybe they were like, "Oh, not right now. Can't you see I'm doing such and such?" Right? You ever have that happen? Was it because of that? What other reasons can we think of why, perhaps when we were younger, we didn't want to ask for help? And then when we became older, many of us, we started working at jobs, and sometimes people didn't want to give you the help, especially if it was a new job. You were the new kid on the block, the new employee, and you wanted to ask for help, but you really didn't want to feel like, you didn't want people to say like, "Well, she doesn't know how to do that," or "He doesn't know how to do that." And so it was like, "No, let me try to figure this out." And it took sometimes the entire day. And maybe you even went home with work and started looking through your binders and trying to figure it out by yourself instead of asking for help. Because perhaps we didn't want the boss to know that we didn't know. Or maybe it was a boss who really didn't want to act like they wanted to assist you. They were so busy. There's a whole myriad of reasons as to why, but I just feel like now, where we are, where I'm at, where you are at, it is imperative. It's important for us to ask for help when we need it. Because when we don't ask for help, it's just like that task, right? You know you need help. And it's going to take you a whole lot longer to get it done by yourself as if you ask someone to help you out. Busy moms, people who are busy at work, you turn around one day, you know you cleaned up. You know you did. You cleaned up that morning and you turned around and you looked and stuff was all over the floor. And you either hollered or you did something else, right? But it frustrated you. Or you've got that room or that closet or those drawers that you haven't been through because life just gets so busy sometimes. You ever think about having like a, now listen, I know there are some people who have, ODD, or I think that's the name of it. I think that's the one. I'm not sure. Whatever it is, I know I don't have it. The clutter it's the mark of a genius, right? I must be like so smart sometimes. Well, anyway, you have to work on it, right? We all do. But there are some people who everything is like in the right place. And if you move it over an inch, they're going to say, no, like that wasn't there before. Let me move this over. And many of us we weren't given that, and that's okay. But we're working our way up. Right. And sometimes like you need to go on and you need to look at some of these little cute videos on YouTube where people are like, how to clean up the clutter in 30 minutes or whatever it is. Work on that. There's nothing wrong with that. And every day that we live is a reason and an opportunity for us to do something better. So if you feel like you're not there yet, and then maybe you have some other friends or some of your girls or whatever, your buddies, and it's like, hey, why don't we just have like I know they do like this sip and paint and stuff, and I'm not necessarily talking about wine, some sparkling apple cider, but let's sip and clean. Let's sip and organize, right? And we can go, this weekend we'll go to your house and do it. Next weekend we'll go to your house, and maybe it's someone in your family. Maybe you don't have anyone you can do that with yet. Okay, I always say yet because like I said, every day is another day and an opportunity. Maybe it's let's sip and work on each other's business. You're good at this. Help me. What do you think about this? Like run it past someone. Sip that apple cider and just sit down and talk or whatever, but ask for the help that you need. Now, I realize this and I'll say this. There are times when we go through things in life, very, very hard things, right? Transitions. When I went through my, I'm going to find a name for what I went through. But my very, very interesting and challenging realization that I was going to be a solo mom, right? And it came from out of nowhere. And so with that, I think I was in shock. You ever been in shock when you find out the truth about something? You're just like, wait, is this really happening to me? And you're kind of in shock about it a little bit. And you want to talk to someone about it, but you're like, I can't believe it happened to me myself. How in the world can I tell somebody else and expect for them to believe it, right? Why would I want to put them through that? And sometimes we need to. Because I've discovered that a lot of people in this world, we may not go through the same things the same way, but a lot more people than we know have experienced traumatic breakups. A lot more people than you or I know have realized that the person that they considered to be their spouse was already married and didn't tell them. Now, sometimes they'll tell you it didn't work. It didn't go too well. We ended up with a divorce or whatever it is. And then you have some who won't share that information with you, and you'll find out another way what's going on. Okay. And when that happens, if that's you, maybe you've already gone through it. Maybe you haven't. So I'm just going to talk in case you ever meet someone who's gone through it. That person needs to realize that it's okay for them to stop and to grieve that loss and to ask for help. Because perhaps they have children now, their heart is crushed, their dreams are crushed. They're just like, I can't believe this happened. How am I going to make it? And they don't take the time to grieve. I didn't. And that's why I am urging you. I'm almost shouting, from the rafters, please ask for help. Take time to allow yourself to grieve and to mourn that loss, face it, and deal with it, as opposed to not doing that. Because as a chaplain, we learned about in grief and loss that there was something called even prolonged grief. And so we go through all of these different stages, not in the same order for everyone, when we grieve a loss. And I think sometimes when we discuss and we talk about grief, oftentimes we quickly associate it with the transition, the death of a loved one, and we don't sometimes recognize that we go through grief a lot more than we think. We go through grief, yes, when we lose a loved one, a pet, when our finances, we lose a job, or we transition to a different job, or our friendships, we grieve losses in friendship. When we move away to another location, what else can we think of? Go ahead, throw some out there. There's a chat button on here too. Okay, well, you can put it in the chat or you can put it on Facebook if you decide to. But we grieve a lot of things, and these are losses, especially in relationships. When we're in love with someone, I don't like to say fall in. I fell in love. I don't like to say that because normally when you fall, you get hurt. So you're in love with someone. You were in love with someone and it didn't work out and went in a different direction, unbeknownst to you. Or out of nowhere, there's like this change, and the person that you thought you would spend the rest of your life with comes to you and says, I'm bored, or I'm ready to change, or they just disappear. Have any of you had that happen? Someone said, I'm going to work, I'm going on an assignment or whatever, and they just never came back. That's my story. Can you believe that happened to me? Isn't that crazy? But I found out why. It was because that person already had a family. And so their assignment was actually me. I can laugh at it now, y'all. Let me laugh. I know you're probably like, why is she laughing? I'm laughing now because I remember the day that I cried so much that I forgot how to smile. And I didn't realize that I was actually grieving a loss. I knew what it was like to grieve my mom, but this was different. And I'm like, why is it that I feel this way? Like I'm mourning, like I'm grieving. And I kept going. I just found out on the weekend and kept going to work the next day. Well, no, that was actually on the Monday. Sunday, I don't know. And I picked up my daughter from the sitter because I worked that Saturday, and it was just like I made myself think that I had to do business as usual. Like I didn't deserve to take time to heal. And I didn't want to share it with anyone because I was really embarrassed. I was, really ashamed, embarrassed, and all of that. Listen, we can get over that. We need to get over that. If you need help, ask for it. Get the help. Don't let anyone shame you or say, you just need to let that go. And if they do, don't do this. But I would say, well, can you tell me how? Because oftentimes people really want you to get over it because it's too much for them to bear. They don't want to see you hurting. They don't want to feel you hurting. And so they'll just try to want you to get over it really quickly. And so you and I, we deserve to ask for help when we need it. That also includes when your finances do get funny and you're kind of like, walk with me over here so that I can, this air conditioning, I want to make sure, just make sure it didn't pop on while I was talking to you. But, it's kind of like, how can I put it? Like, just get the help. Your finances get a little funny. Don't starve. And I get it. No, I don't want to ask for this. I don't want to. Okay, one or two things. Then go ahead and start to find another way